What up guys, Justin Morgan here, and in this video I am going to go over more from a beginner perspective of how I am learning Latin. I have a little bit of familiarity with it from the past, but this one will cover language learning from a different perspective. So previously I showed you where I was going through and learning Greek as a intermediate, kind of higher intermediate actually learner, and this one is going to look at it from more of a beginner's perspective. So this was a great book. Scorpio Martianus is his name's Luke, I think, and he Luke Ranieri, or I can't remember his last name, but his first name's Luke, I'm pretty sure. So he compiled, there's a few people have actually compiled recordings of Lingua Latina per se strata, and this is Capitulum Dio, or Duo. Dio is Greek, Duo is Latin. So chapter 2 of the book, and so he has the whole book here as a playlist. And so what I will do is go through and just listen to this a few times, maybe usually just once a day. And there's this one. There's another one that uses ecclesiastical pronunciation, like church pronunciation, since most of my interest is related to church, prayers of the church and things like that are in Latin. I'm kind of more interested in that pronunciation, but his has videos and things that make it very pleasant to follow along with. So I'm kind of using both of these, and they're both the same text, so it's just a different pronunciation that you're hearing one versus the other. And then I have some other things that I've used to listen to for Latin learning. This is the Easy Latin Lessons. I'll go through and listen to these, and I'll just do that occasionally. But that's not necessarily making all of the vocabulary comprehensible. So it's like, well, how do you actually learn what they're saying? Well, in Lingua Latina, one of the ideas is that you naturally pick up the vocabulary because of the way that it's describing it. And when you see the vocabulary, it's like Italia in Europa est. So it'll be like Italy is in Europe. Germania in Europa est. And then it'll say, I can't remember how it goes now. So, but I mean, it'll tell you like things that you should kind of be able to figure out, and you build a base of vocabulary that way. But that's not the only thing that I'm doing. Also, I'm using Memrise, because they have Lingua Latina separated by chapters, which you can see here. And I think this method of just rote memorization where you're using flashcards, it actually does transfer to implicit knowledge of the language. So Paul Nation is a language professor in New Zealand, and he's done a lot of research on this. So where Stephen Krashen discusses that language learning has to involve comprehensible input, Paul Nation has kind of shown through in a number of studies and brought this up many times in his books, that when we learn things through like bilingual definitions, which is what Memrise is using here, that does end up transferring to implicit knowledge of the language. You don't have to learn, just because you're doing comprehensible input, that doesn't mean that this can't translate to making the input that you're getting more comprehensible. So, I'll do these flashcards. You can see if I do learn new ones. So Dominus is master. I know these very well. Duae is two. Femina is woman. It tells you that. So that's a new word. I obviously I know that one, but it's coming up. So duae, two again. Woman, femina. Feminae. Filia is daughter. So these are pretty easy still. I know these very well. Daughter, filia. All right, so I can kind of... Domina is the feminine version, mistress, the master, mistress. Filia, daughter. Familia is your household. Interesting thing. Filius, son. Familia, household. Note that family, familia is your household. It includes all of your household, not just, in I guess in like Western English American terms, when we say family, it tends to refer to like the nuclear intermediate family. This is not an idea present in the ancient world, though. Your familia referred to your entire household. If you owned slaves, then they would actually also be considered part of your household. So, it's a pretty extended family that's included in that. But these are kind of some of the things you learn from just language learning. And so obviously I know this vocabulary pretty
People have
well.
asked me what is so special about the Ascension app, and what I would say.
With Memrise, sometimes you have to watch those ads if you don't actually have a paid for account, which I do not. I wouldn't be opposed to necessarily having a paid account with Memrise, but none of the languages that I've studied have they actually had official courses for. These are all courses that I just found that users had made, so that's why they're free, but you have to watch ads for them. So I can post a link to this particular one if you're studying Latin. If you're not, then this wouldn't make as much sense. But so what I do is I will watch those videos over a couple days, and I learn about 15 new words per day on Memrise, which is what I think I have my settings hooked up to. I don't remember how to edit my goal. So yeah, words per day, 15. So 15 words per day I'm trying to learn. And, you can see each chapter has about 30 words. So it should take a couple of days to go through a chapter and finish it. I started this one yesterday, and I'll probably finish it. I did the first part of it. I still got some more to do today, and then I'll probably finish it tomorrow. So, yeah. And just, I learned those vocabulary words. I'm hearing them through the recording. And then eventually, I'll need to move on to more intermediate things to do with this. But, for less than 30 minutes per day, maybe a little bit more if I'm watching some of those easy Latin lessons and doing things with that. So maybe 45 minutes then if I'm doing these things. But, 30 to 45 minutes per day is pretty easy. And after about a year, you're really, I'll probably finish Lingua Latina per se la strada by that time, and gone pretty far with how I'm doing Latin, and I'll be ready for more of those intermediate, kind of more advanced methods that eventually become necessary to learn a language. But if you are learning and you're starting out these are very simple things that actually transfer and are very meaningful and bring about knowledge and implicit use of the language. So you guys do well. And hopefully that has been insightful for you in some of the methods that I use.